Hey guys, Marsengan here, bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video. And so on the JP side, there is a new user survey that has appeared in the game. Obviously, you guys have seen these before. They happen quite a lot on both versions of the game. You get a couple of stones for completing it, 7 in fact, but aside from that, you should always do these surveys, right? Regardless of what the reward is. Even if there was no reward, I know there would be less incentive. I guess people want those couple of quick extra free stones, but you should always go ahead and do these user surveys to give them feedback about stuff to do with the game, right? Because on the one hand, if you want to be super negative, you can say that, you know, they never listen to feedback. I mean, the fact that people have been complaining about the friend system now for so long and it hasn't been changed, despite the fact it was brought up in, I think, the previous survey. Obviously, you know, if they are going to listen to feedback and start implementing changes, I guess it does take some time to get those fixes, like, sorted out. Would be good if they were a bit more communicative. Like, I'm sure people would be less frustrated about the friend system if they just put out a small announcement that said, like, hey, you know, based on the results of the last survey and the feedback that we're seeing from you guys, like, we're going to address the friend system, but, you know, it's a work in progress or something. Even if they said that, I think that would satiate people's frustrations a little bit. But either way, it's always worth doing the surveys because you can't complain that, you know, they're not listening or not fixing the things that you want them to fix if you don't tell them the things that you want them to fix. So you should always do these user surveys. You get a little bit of a reward out of it, but, you know, in the long run, hopefully it will lead to improvements in the game overall. But the important thing about this one, that I woke up today and I saw a bunch of people talking about it, so it's the main reason why I put this video together, is there are 2 specific questions in the survey that are quite interesting. And obviously one of them is the core theme of this video. I mean, you'll be able to tell by the title and the thumbnail. So let's go ahead and look at the first one here. So the first one is a question about skill orbs, which is interesting, although the translation is skill balls, because obviously this is mostly just translated because it's a JP survey, so I imagine it'll have been auto Google translated or something. But question 24 on the survey is, what do you want from the skill orbs in Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle? And the top one is, I want a skill orb with new functions, such as increasing the guard probability and increasing the damage reduction. And then obviously the other ones, I want skill balls to be stronger, I want more chances to get them, and then I am satisfied with the way. Hopefully nobody picks that one, right? Because there's a lot of things they could do with skill orbs to make that system better. For one, being able to combine the smaller ones into bigger ones is like the #1 thing, right? Like, even if you have to use some Zenny, you definitely wouldn't want to have to use stones, that would suck. But like, what am I ever going to do with a gold level 1 crit? I'm not going to waste a gold skill orb slot on a character with a level 1 crit. So let me put my, like, 2 level 1s and a level 3 together to make a level 5. Make it cost, like, incredible gems or those new purple gems from the new quest mode on JP and some Zenny or something like that. And then, yeah, that would be awesome for putting together some of these weaker ones. Especially when you get the ones that do 2 things at the same time. Combining a bunch of them together so you could actually make, like, level 5 crit, level 5 additional skill orbs and stuff would be pretty awesome. Could get into the realms of being a little bit OP, but would definitely be a good way to get rid of some of these weaker ones that are just completely useless, right? But the top one is the one that is the most interesting. So imagine being able to give units that have a chance to guard a bunch of skill orbs that increase their chance to guard, which obviously therefore increases their overall, like, efficiency. And then of course damage reduction as well. Like, any unit that you want to use as a defensive unit, or a unit that, you know, in any way that you're going to use as a tank, being able to put orbs on them to give them extra damage reduction would obviously be incredibly good. You'd have units like, you know, the Golden Freezers, new units like the Android 8 and stuff like that. You load them up with these damage reduction skill orbs and they're just not going to take damage from anything in the game. God Goku is obviously another good example. That would of course help him out against non-Pure Saiyans and movie bosses, because then he would actually have some damage reduction, and then when he is fighting those enemies, he'd have a huge amount of damage reduction. So obviously would be very, very powerful. But The other one, the key question that the video is kind of about, I mean, I wanted to cover both of these things, right, but this is the main thrust of the video, and that is question 20. What do you want to see from Extreme Z Awakenings implemented in Dokkan Battle? Multiple options are possible, and, you know, I want performance that strengthens the attractive parts of the character's characteristics. That's kind of what EZAs should really be doing already. I want the performance to compensate for the difficult to use parts of the character's characteristics. Again, that's what EZA should be for, right? Like seeing these things with like ally restrictions and turn restrictions. EZAs very often make those easier. And then of course, fine as it is now, which honestly you should never put that, right? You should always have some kind of feedback to make something a little bit better. But the bottom one is the real reason that we are here. I want characters who have been Extreme Z awakened in the past to become even stronger. So this is something that people have been talking about for a very, very long time. Pretty much ever since, I guess, the first EZA unit started to become outdated. This probably became a topic of discussion. And that is, of course, whatever they will actually call it, as EZA 2. Electric Boogaloo. I don't know. Second EZA. Extreme Z Awakening. It'll probably, hopefully, it'll have a much better name. Hopefully, they'll pay their design team the right amount to make a better name than, you know, those are all just meme suggestions anyway. But it would be very, very interesting to see this implemented in the game. And there obviously are certain units, more so than others, that would definitely benefit from this. And speaking of which, here is Patient Zero himself. I think when you think about who would get, who would most benefit from a second EZA, I feel like this unit is probably the number one that springs to people's mind. I feel so bad for this unit, right? Like if you're a Super Saiyan 3 Broly fan out there, maybe you're a big fan of Raging Blast back in the day, and when you saw that Super Saiyan 3 Broly was actually coming to Dokkan many years ago, you got super hyped. And then even pre-EZA, he was the worst of the like Type 120 leaders. And then when he got his EZA, straight out of the gate, his EZA is incredibly disappointing. They still kept the fact that he nerfs defense on Orbs, as well as, you know, boosting attack. He's a nuking style unit, but he lowers defense. So the more Orbs you pick, the harder he hits, but the weaker he is defensively, which kind of sucks. And of course, you know, one of the big things about these EZA units now that are so outdated, you look at this Broly EZA, and then you look at, like, even some of the sub-EZAs that we've gotten in the last year or so, like, even those dominate over this Broly. Like, obviously, a unit that EZA'd, if we look at the date, like, he EZA'd 2 years ago, almost fully 2 years ago on Global, over 2 years ago on JP. So, obviously, we wouldn't expect him to be current meta-level performance for 2022. But even when he got his EZA, he was not very good, right? And I've seen people, you know, people have done clears of, like, Red Zone Broly with him on the team, but people have done that with a lot of weak units. Like, as long as you hide them from specific attacks or use items at the right time, obviously you can make it through. But this guy, very disappointing that he was so bad straight out of the gate. And then, of course, other units, even ones that are not necessarily as popular that wouldn't spring to mind. The AGL Super Saiyan 3 Goku, who was like the first EZA, is definitely one that I know people would enjoy seeing getting this boost. But what about this guy? I think if I remember rightly, was he the first sub-EZA ever? Because he's a sub-EZA from the AGL Super Saiyan 3 Goku EZA. And he's another one that was basically dead on arrival. Because I'm pretty sure, I might be wrong with my timelines here, because, you know, after 6+ years of playing the game, it's easy to get confused. But I think he might have got his sub-EZA before the same name update was in the game. Which means as soon as he got his EZA, you were just never going to run him over the AGL one anyway. Unless you were running like a Super STR team, or you were fighting like, you know, an STR boss, so you didn't want to run the AGL one. So this is another unit who, I think I did a video on him when he got his EZA, and then probably never used him again after that. So he is another unit that, it might not be, you know, top of your head, but some of these very early sub-EZAs definitely would benefit from a huge boost here from a second EZA. And then another one I wanted to highlight, just because it's a random one, this Physical Trunks and the Tech Vegeta, to be fair, because they are very similar. When these units first came out, they're actually really good, like, support units to run. I remember running this guy on like a super team with like Vegito Blue, as long as you had another Vegeta family unit. He was pretty good, and then when he got his EZA, he was pretty good for a little while. I remember in some of the events that were out at the time, they weren't necessarily the hardest. I mean, we didn't have the hardest content back in 2019 anyway, but I remember using him in some of the more difficult content that was out at the time as a support unit, and he was still able to hold his own fairly well defensively. So you imagine now, if this unit was runnable in the current meta, how much of a massive boost this guy would be to like the Majin Vegeta team, right? Now I know obviously on JP that Int Trunks and Vegeta exists, and by the time, if they ever did implement this second EZA, by the time it rolled around, and let alone the fact that it got to this unit, that unit would be out on global anyway. But this guy would be a massive boost to some of those teams, right? So there's a lot of these older units that could very much benefit from a second EZA. I didn't want to just bring up all of the original EZA units, because obviously you've got like STR Legendary Super Saiyan Broly. I'm pretty sure when he got his EZA, he was pretty much dead in the water straight away. And then even some of the 70% leads, like the Int Buhan, pretty much unrunnable in the current level of content, unless you're, you know, cheesing items, skipping turns, that kind of thing. But yeah, a lot of units would definitely benefit from this. So I don't think I've seen many people push back on this. I know I've seen 1 or 2 tweets of people saying that they don't think this would necessarily be a great idea. And I kind of agree that we should be bringing out newer units and making, you know, the first EZA just good, right? Because we don't want these dead out of the gate EZAs that get an EZA and then they're just kind of useless, or they're usable for like a couple of months maybe, and then they become useless because they either get replaced by a new unit, even though we have the same name update, but they get replaced because a lot of teams units are fighting for position on some of these top teams, so they can easily get edged out and replaced. So it would be nice if we had these EZAs that were more future-proof and more new units. Free-to-play units, maybe make them good straight away. Stop giving them EZA straight out of the gate. But that is another thing that we haven't even touched on, is some of these free-to-play units that get EZA straight away and then are bad. And then that's it. That unit's just pointless forever. In fact, I should have brought up the page separately, but there is one unit in particular. Let's see, we can get to him if we go by Pure Saiyans. Some of you guys might know exactly who I'm thinking of. A unit who, one of the only summonable units that got an EZA as soon as they released. And so, of course, unfortunately, that led to them aging out. Not super quickly, he was actually pretty good for a little while. But this AGL Wrathful Broly, imagine him being able to finally get like a second EZA so that he would actually be good. Because look at this, on JP, for some reason he EZA'd the day after. On Global, he EZA'd the same day. So this unit came out over 3 years ago, EZA'd straight away. And honestly, he managed to stay relevant for a reasonable amount of time. But, like, this guy getting the chance to get a second stage EZA and actually be usable would be super awesome, because he's still the only Wrathful Broly in the game, name-wise. So it would be very cool for him to get a second stage EZA and actually be really good. So let me know what you guys think down below. Do you think EZA 2 is a good idea? Do you think we will see it? And who are some of the units that you think would benefit the most? Try and pick some like out of the box ideas. You know, everyone's going to say Super Saiyan 3 Broly, some of the ones that I've covered already. But what's a really interesting EZA that you don't think you've seen anyone talk about that would be super good to come back with a second EZA and be a meta unit again? Let me know down below in the comments section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.